Hello and welcome to the channel. If you like this kind of content, please leave a like and subscribe. Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be fixing a Nintendo Switch that I bought from eBay. The seller listed it as mostly working. It comes with all the accessories. I'll show you in a second. The only thing that was wrong with it was the left blue Joy-Con had a little bit of stick drift. Initially I'd bought this as a kind of a project but also a present to my sister. I wanted to give her something and thought let me see if I can save a few quid, try and find one that was mostly working, something repairable on eBay, save myself a little bit of money but also at the same time give me a nice project. So as you can see, all the accessories are there, not in the best condition, but again, you know, it's all pretty good. Nothing a quick clean can't fix. As you can see, it's mostly just a little bit dusty. There's no real scratches. It just needs a little bit of a clean, really. Back cover's also missing, as you can see, but that's fine. That only costs a couple of pounds to replace. Pretty happy with that, to be fair. It would have been good if it was in perfect condition, but sometimes you don't get that. Like I said, everything else is good. Little bonus, I did have a micro SD card in there, so that's great. So that's a little value add, something that I don't need to buy extra. Unfortunately, I wasn't lucky enough to have a game in there as well. That would have been good, but you know, it's one of those things. So jumping into the home screen, I just want to check the wireless connection really quickly, just to make sure that everything is fine with the Joy-Cons, sorry. And then I just want to obviously check the joystick drift on both. The seller listed the left one, the blue one, as the one with the issue, but I'll check both. As you can see, both wirelessly connecting, so great. That means it's all working. Going through the menus, absolutely fine. You can see I've got Pokemon Sword already installed on there. Obviously, the game cartridge it isn't in there as yet, so I'll pop that in. We can jump into the game and we can have a little bit of a play around and just test the Joy-Cons, really. Like I said, left one was listed as an issue, but I'll check the right one. Let's just double check that they click in. Yep, they do click fine. They both connect great. You can see both the Joy-Cons clicking in and making the sound as well as the visual representation. And then of course at the bottom, it also changes to show that they're connected. So jumping into the game, you can see here, I'm just going to double check and test basically both of the controllers, the Joy-Cons. I'm just going to kind of wiggle it about and there you go. As you can see, it's drifting by itself. It's got a little bit of a ghost in there. So that's kind of the main thing that I want to get rid of. It doesn't seem to be too bad actually, but you know, once you do get around into it, it does kind of drift a little bit by itself. It's not the worst that I've seen, but like I said, it's one of those things that would be good to get rid of it and obviously fix it. And it's fairly cheap, fairly easy to fix, which is what we're going to be doing in this video. So calibration mode, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually show you how to essentially diagnose and see it for yourself. As you can see in the calibration menu, you can actually go into this part and really see it for yourself. You can see there that it was drifting a little bit. Again, nothing major, probably one of the better ones that aren't drifting that much. I've seen much worse ones, but as you can see, without me doing anything, it is drifting. So definitely double confirmed that it is drifting and it's just that controller that needs replacing. So that's what we're going to do. We'll open it up. We'll put all of the other stuff to the side and we'll look at the screw holes. So there's 4 on the back. They're tri-wing screws. So if you have the iFixit Pro Teck toolkit like me, you can see the cover on the right hand side there peeking out. That's the one that I'm going to use. Like I said, the joysticks are fairly inexpensive to replace. I had a pack of 2 that cost me about £5. So, you know, in general, I think a brand new controller would have probably cost around sort of £30-40. So a fiver for 2 Joy-Con joysticks is not a bad deal. It's £2.50 each. So it's going to cost me £2.50 essentially to replace this. And then of course, repair it and make it all work. So as I mentioned, 4 screws, tri-wings. You'll need a specific screw bit. As I mentioned, the iFixit Pro Teck toolkit is my weapon of choice. It has all of the accessories, all of the bits that you need to basically get into anything. So firstly, when you open it, you've got to be a little bit careful. There is a ribbon cable as you open the case that kind of bends across. The first thing that I want to do is basically just take out the ribbon cables just to detach the outer casing from the inner casing, just so I can work on it a little bit better, basically, just so it's not in the way. There is a battery connector on the bottom side as well, near the white part. That is something you can also take out, but realistically, the battery itself, it is sitting inside a cover in the casing. So just be a little bit careful. Try not to bend the battery too much because that will cause issues. Just go in there, just kind of pry it open a little bit. It is held down with a little bit of glue, and there is a screw that you saw me take out just so I can really get into the battery side. And then that casing inside, it does pop out. So again, there's that 1 screw on the bottom. There's also 4 screws in the middle that you can see me taking out. And once you do that, you can just pull the cover off itself. And again, just be a bit careful because it is all connected. You don't want to be ripping ribbon cables because that would be extremely hard to replace. So just be a little bit careful when you take them all out. But there you go. As you can see, it exposes the joystick part. The buttons will fall out, so again, be careful. Just disconnect the ribbon cables just to make it a little bit easier to take out the Joy-Con joystick. And then, of course, you've got 2 screws holding it into place that you want to also take out. Again, be a bit careful with the ribbon cables. They are very small, so they tend to be quite finicky and quite fiddly to take out. And they're also gentle, so be a bit gentle with it. You don't want to be yanking things out, because again, a Joy-Con joystick is quite easy and quite simple to replace. A ribbon connector is a whole nother deal, so be a little bit careful. Taking out the joystick itself, as I mentioned, this is the second screw, so I'm just going to pop that out, and then it should just lift out of the casing. As I mentioned, make sure you've detached the ribbon cable before, and the whole thing should just pop out nicely and easily, just like so. So this is the bad one. I'm going to put it to one side. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the good one that I've just bought as brand new. I haven't tested it as yet, so I'm just going off the basis that it's new and that it should be working, but I think it should be fine. One thing about these is that sometimes the screws, as you can see, the brand new one that I got, the screw is actually slightly different. I don't know why, I'm not too sure, but if you do one of these repairs, make sure you retain the original screws for your Joy-Con joystick, because you will need them. Some of the replacements, they don't come with the right one. So as you can see on the screen, your right is the broken one, the left one is the one that I'm going to be replacing. That's the brand new one. So working backwards, pop that into the hole, and then of course make sure you bend the ribbon cable around the top screw. As I mentioned, again, just be a little bit gentle. You're going to be going through and basically reconnecting all of the ribbon cables. Be a little bit gentle. Take your time. It does require a little bit of patience, because the ribbon cables, especially the last one, can be very finicky and very fiddly. So yeah, just pop in the screws. You can see the bottom one first, then the top one. And again, be careful of the ribbon cable, because it does go right near it. As you can see, the ribbon cable is there, and then the ribbon cable rests over the screw once it's in place, and then goes back into the connector on the actual PCB. So just be a little bit careful there. Once that's done, just pop it in, making sure you insert it all the way in, and then it's got a locking tab as well. One thing about these ribbon cables is that all of them have locking tabs. So make sure you, first of all, are a little bit gentle with it, because they can break very easily, as I've found out. I'll post that in another video actually, of one that I replaced that didn't go quite well, because I think I was a little bit heavy-handed with it. Broke a locking tab, and it was very difficult to replace, so just be a little bit careful. But once all that's done, you can pop in the battery casing or the battery holder in the internal part. Again, a little bit fiddly, just be a little bit careful. There is a ribbon cable that goes around it for one of the buttons. So what you're going to do is you're going to want to bend it. As you can see, I'm putting it in first because it's a little bit easier. Put down the locking tab, make sure it doesn't pull on it or tug on it too much. And then you should just be able to slot it back into place where it should go. And then again, you've got the battery connector down at the bottom as well. So if you haven't taken that out, just again, be a little bit careful. I took mine out, so it was just there kind of preventing the actual battery compartment closing back into place properly. It should snap into place quite nicely with quite a satisfying click. So once you get that back into place, then it'll be ready for the 4 screws in the middle, and then of course the 1 screw on the bottom as well. Once that's done, then of course you can pop back in the battery and reassemble everything. Again, just making sure that you've got the right screws for the right holes, because the screws alternate. So on your screen, the top left and the top right screws are different, bottom left, bottom right are different. So just be a little bit careful. If you have one of these mats, they're really good. You can put down the screws in the way that you took them out as a visual representation, and then you can kind of put it in the back the same way. So this is the one that kind of is a little bit finicky. As you can see, I'm trying to put the locking tab back up again. This is the one that I ended up breaking. Like I said, I'll post that video later. With this one, it was successful. Managed to get it in. Popped in the last ribbon cable, which is quite a lot easier. Making sure you've got the locking tabs there. Pop back the battery connector back in, click it all back into place, because you can see the lights already back on, so it's all working. I'm basically just going to be putting back the 4 outer screws, and then we'll give it another test drive just to make sure that the joystick drift is now disappeared. As I mentioned, it wasn't that bad in the first place, but actually it is still a little bit annoying, especially if you're playing games like Pokemon where it requires you to move around. Sometimes these joysticks, they can drift and they can actually select different things without you wanting to, and then it ruins the game. So one thing I want to do is talk a little bit about my iFixit ProTech toolkit. It's one that I've had for a long time and highly recommend using for any repairs or anything like that. As you can see, there's quite a lot of tools. So you've got the driver itself, you've got quite a lot of screw bits there. You've even got an extension as well for any of the hard to reach places. You've also got a magnetic parts tray, which is quite handy, and you've got quite a lot of other tools as well. So definitely recommend that for any repairs that you're doing. There's lots of tools to get into really, really tough things like laptops, Nintendo Switches, and that sort of thing. Okay, coming back to it, we can just reconnect the Joy-Cons and just test it. I'm going to go back into the calibration and select the calibrator really quickly just to check that the joystick drift is now gone. So as you can see, I'm basically doing what I did last time. It's not drifting that much. There is a little bit of drift, but actually I think perhaps it needs to be calibrated slightly. So what I'm going to do is just test it really quickly just to see if there is a lot of drift. It seems a lot better than it was before, and then I'm just basically going to calibrate it quickly. So as you can see, this is the actual calibration menu itself rather than the testing menu, which is what we were doing before. This is the actual calibration or recalibration. So now that it's recalibrated properly, there you can see this joystick drift is completely gone. So I'm just going to test it a little bit, but nope, we're all good. Don't need to test the other one because it's done, but what we'll do is we'll jump back into the game really quickly and just see if we can replicate what was happening before. As you can see, it's completely gone. So I think job done, and I can trust that it's all finished. So yeah, that's how you basically repair the joystick drift on a Joy-Con. The other thing I'm going to do really quickly is in the same video just show you how to replace the back cover. As I mentioned in the first part, it is also missing. I basically bought a replacement for about £2 and it came with the joystick covers you saw as well. So what I do, it's a very simple, very easy fix. You basically just clip it into place, but I wanted to show you how it works and how you would do it on this video. So as you can see, it just pops in, and then the spring on it means that you can pop it open completely to let it rest, or it clips into place and actually hides the micro SD card. And you can see there it kind of opens. This kickstand compared to the OLED one is not that great really, but then again it's just one of the nice things to have, just more of a cosmetic thing. The black isn't exactly the same as the one before, but like I said, it's more cosmetics than anything else. These joystick covers came with it as well, so I'm going to pop on the black ones just to make it a little bit nicer and of course protect the new Joy-Con joystick as well as the older one. There are also clips that you can get for when you're trying to take your Nintendo Switch out and about, so that if you pop it into your bag, it doesn't ruin the joysticks and make it drift even more by leaning on the joystick and then breaking it. I haven't got any of those covers to show off. This is just the joystick cover itself. Like I said, more for cosmetics, just to make sure that using it doesn't kind of ruin it too much. And there you go, it's complete, it's fixed, it's finished and ready to give to my sister. Thank you very much for watching, and if you like this content, please remember to like and subscribe for more.